Hello there, Mrs. Drum here again for our fourth lesson on decimals. Today we are going to use meters to model the decomposition of one whole into hundredths. We are going to represent and count hundredths. Let's get going. Look at number 3 on your problem set. It says to use the model to add the shaded parts as shown. Write a number bond with the total written in decimal form and the part written as fractions. Let's look at letter A. The diagram represents one whole. There are 10 big squares which represent tenths. There are 10 bars in the big square. So, if all of the big squares were divided into 10 little bars, that would be 10 bars 10 times. So, the total would be hundredths. So the bars, therefore, represent hundredths. Now let's focus on what we have shaded. We have one square shaded, so that is 1/10. When we have 3 bars shaded, so that's 3 hundredths. My decimal is going to be 0 and decimal point 1/10, 3 hundredths. To set up my number bond, I'm going to put 0 and 13 hundredths at the top. I'm going to focus on the place value positions that I have represented. So that means I'm going to pull out 1/10 because 1 is in the tenths place, and I'm going to pull out 3 hundredths because 3 is in the hundredths place. Look at letter B with number 3. Look at what is shaded. Write down the decimal. Pause the video and replay when you are ready. I see that there are 2 squares shaded in, so that means that there are 2 tenths. There are 4 bars or hundredths shaded in. So that means that there are 4 hundredths, and my decimal is 0.24. To set up the number bond, we'll have the decimal at the top, and then we're going to pull out the tenths and hundredths. Write these as a fraction. Pause the video and replay when you are ready. So I have my decimal at the top. I am going to pull out 2 tenths because 2 is in the tenths place. And then I'm going to pull out 4 hundredths because 4 is in the hundredths place. Look at number 4. It says on each meter stick to shade in the amount shown, then write the equivalent decimal. So they gave us the decimal or fraction, and now we have to do the drawing. So look at letter A. We have 8 tenths, so we are going to shade in 8 of the blocks. 5, 6, 7, 8. So our decimal is going to be 0.8 for the 8 tenths. I don't have any hundredths, so I'm not going to put anything in my hundredths position. Look at letter B. We have 7 hundredths. That means we need to first make 10 bars in the first block. So I know that these are going to be small, so just do the best that you can. You'll probably do a better job than I will because I'm using a stylus on the iPad, and it's not as accurate as a pencil on paper. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then one more line makes the 9 and 10. So now I'm going to shade in 7 of those, and I know again it's a little bit hard to see, just do the best that you can. So I have 3 tenths that are not, or I should say 3 hundredths that are not shaded in. Now we're going to write it as a decimals. So go ahead and pause the video and write your fraction as a decimal. Replay when you are ready to check your work. So the decimal is going to be 0.07 because I don't have any tenths shaded in. Look at number 5. It says to draw a number bond, pulling out the tenths from the hundredths like we did in problem 3. Then we need to write the total as the equivalent decimal. So look at letter A. We have 1900ths. So first let's write the decimal. So we have 0.1/10 900ths. We need to pull out 1/10 as a fraction and then 900ths as the other fraction. And that's it. Now let's look at letter B. We have 2800ths. Go ahead and write the decimal and create a number bond like we did for letter A with your decimal at the top. Pause the video and then replay when you're ready. So the decimal is going to be 0.28. There are 2/10ths as a fraction, and then there are 800ths. So I'm going to write that as a fraction. Your assignment for today is to complete number 2C, 4C, 5C, and 5D on your problem set. When you are finished, check your work with the answer keys at the front of the room. Make corrections as needed. When you are done, grab an exit ticket. Make sure your name is on it and then turn it in when you are done. Then you can work on the must-dos and the can-dos. Great job today. I'll see you next time.